Here in this house lies all things unseen, things that are scary, things that are mean. It's all the parts of ourselves kept hidden, an internal shunning of things forbidden. I love the darkness of all things taboo, of all the things done in the dark with you. The intensity here is for me and for you. Hey everybody, today we're going to be doing this video. It's about Pluto in 8th house. So for a little quick rundown, Pluto is like areas of our life where we feel intensity, where we have power struggles with other people, where people like are trying to assert their power over us or us over them, things that are occult, things that are more taboo, and taboo in the more, not like the Uranus eccentric sense, but like the Pluto scorpionic sense, we'll call it. Deep transformation was underscored at deep transformation, the rebirth, the recycle, the scorpion to the phoenix, where in our lives we will go through that, and I think I said intense obsessions and our sexuality. And then it's in its home house, so it's in the 8th house, which is the house of sex, death, taxes. Taxes representing other people's money, other people's resources, not necessarily taxes, but also taxes. Our secrets, the occult, and our sexuality. Pluto is very much at home here, especially, I'm assuming a lot of people who have this also have Pluto in Scorpio. So this energy really is able to like spread its wings here. It does well here. It's comfortable. I don't want to say it's comfortable here because it's very intense, but it's meant to be intense. So as a quick little foreshadowing, some celebrities that have this are Aaliyah, the singer Selena, and Sylvester Stallone. And I want to get into how their 8th house Pluto plays out in their chart a little bit later in the video. But keep them in mind. This is very intense placement. You're going to have chaotic and or transformative experiences. And the whole point of this is Pluto is testing you to see, can you go from the Scorpion to the Eagle? Can you rise above the shit that I'm throwing at you? And therefore, to see if you can rise above or not, it's got to throw some shit at you. So you're gonna have, I don't want to say traumatic experiences, but I mean, Pluto, like Saturn, it's not easy. You're gonna have some Plutonian type experiences. Death you may experience. Just experiences that, I'm just gonna come right out and say it, experiences that are very traumatic. Maybe you have like a parent who's a drug addict. Maybe you've been in an extreme car accident and you were paralyzed and now you're learning how to walk. It's testing you, it's throwing it at you. Can you do it? Can you rise to the challenge that I give you? I have to give you these challenges though, to see if you can do that. Can you overcome a drug addiction? Can you get out of an abusive relationship? Extreme violence, suicide, Plutonian themes. Again, the Plutonian theme, especially if it's in Scorpio, watching people be seedy or underhanded. Maybe your experience isn't so, harmful to your body, but maybe you've been screwed over by somebody. Maybe your sister sleeps with your husband or whatever. Something chaotic and very deeply unsettling has to come in like an atom bomb and just kind of like rock your world at first. Pluto, even though it's throwing the challenges at you, it is on your side because it wants you to overcome. It wants you to rise above and be who you were meant to be and not who your environment or your experiences have made you to be. These are people who are very much not a product of their environment in a very good way. Let's just say you're born into poverty. I think a really good phrase that to keep in mind when we think about Pluto in the 8th is, I don't have to be blank. Now think about if you have Pluto in the 8th, which I'm assuming because you're watching the video, think about traumatic experiences and how you've overcome them. You don't have to be blank. I was born into poverty, but I don't have to live that way. I was born into a family who maybe is not well educated, but I can rise above that. I was born into a family, maybe people who use drugs, but I don't have to be blank. I have the power to step far, far, not just a little bit above,
far above my circumstances and be who God put me here to be all that I can be. I don't know, I keep thinking about like these army references. To be all that you could be in spite of the things that you've been through, because you've been through things. And I think people who don't know you well would be so surprised, even people who do know you well, because again, this is secretive, so you're gonna hide this part of yourself, would be surprised to learn about you. Like if you may see like a little housewife cooking, but you may not know that she's like a war refugee and she's seen death and she has escaped and she's seen violence and she's traveled the world and lost her home, and then she's here, but you may see her in the supermarket, you may never know. Or somebody who, I just use drugs because that's just like an obvious example, used to have real bad drug problem, but now they're like, got their own business, maybe they have their own cleaning business, they have a couple employees, they got a wife, they got some kids, and they're doing fine. And you would never look at this person and think, wow, you've been through that. Most people who've been through what you guys have been through would not overcome it, because I'm not gonna say they don't have the strength, but it takes a lot, and a lot of people may not possess that, or they may fall victim to their circumstances. And you soar above all of your circumstances, or you have the ability to. If you're watching this and you haven't soared, if you feel like you haven't soared above something yet, you do have the ability to, because Pluto is giving you that. Pluto is giving you that fire and that intensity and that desire. I read a great quote one time, I'm about to butcher it, but something like, the fact that you have the desire to do something at all means that the universe is on your side. So even if it's just kicking like a bad smoking habit or something like that, you can see yourself in a different way. I always think of that scene, if you guys have watched the movie, Notorious B.I.G., and the mom is a crackhead, and then at the end you see her walking with her son across the street and she's like happy and she's healthy. This is the kind of transformation that you guys are capable of and you possess, and that Pluto and the universe really wants to see from you, even though they're pushing you so hard. But like I said, a lot of people might not know this about you. They might not know what you're struggling with, and that's because you shove it down. So why do you shove it down? You feel intensely, but your intensity, where your Pluto is in the 8th house. 8th and 12th are very hidden in different ways, but you are hiding your intensity behind the scenes. So maybe you go to work and you smile, but you come home and you feel, or you let this intensity out. So maybe you come home from work and then you may be like, you're crying, or you're letting it all out, or you're dealing with your trauma, you're dealing with your pain. But you don't want to share your intensity with others. I don't want to say with others, but you don't want to share your intensity with everybody. So only people who are really close to you are the people who would know your story or your struggle. And a lot of times they won't even know it until after you've already gone through it. So that's one reason. You like your intensity behind the scenes. This is a reason why you might shove it down. Another reason why you might shove it down, and this is if you're less evolved, if you're younger, most likely, you may feel like it's just easier to repress it rather than to deal with it. Some people just feel like, hey, I went through some traumatic stuff and I haven't dealt with it. I haven't gone to therapy. I haven't talked it out. I haven't cried it out. But I just want to keep going because I don't want to deal with it right now because it is too intense. Pluto here can be very intense, especially if it's in Scorpio. If it's in Libra or in Sagittarius, it can be a little lighter because these are very light signs that sandwich together this very heavy sign. Another reason why you might shove it down and not tell anybody about your intense experiences is because it's a dead issue to you. My brother has this, and things that bother me from our childhood don't seem to bother him at all. And my probing and in my investigation of the sign, I've come to understand that his viewpoint is like, it's over, it's done. So somebody may know you for years, be your best friend or be your partner, and learn something about you. Maybe you didn't even tell them. Maybe they came across it through somebody else telling them, or some kind of way where they find out about you and they're like, wow, why didn't you share this with me? And you're just like, why should I? Why would I? It's not who I am anymore. It's never who I was. It's something that I got over. And that is very different from repressing it. So if you're repressing it, I would encourage all you out there to go get some therapy and do therapeutic things and self-care things so you feel like you're at peace with it. Where you feel like you can lay metaphorical flowers on the metaphorical grave of whatever traumatic experience you've been through, and you can just be that eagle who's not weighed down by your experiences. So yeah, that's the healthiest way to do it. And I thought, like when an animal sheds its dead skin, it doesn't carry around the dead skin. So in the healthiest form, after you work through your traumatic experiences, you just let it go. And that's really beautiful thing. Because you can do this makes you really great at giving advice, because there are people who we ask advice from. There's different kinds of advice and different kinds of people that we get it from. Some people haven't really been through what we've been through. So even though their advice may be well-meaning or it might make sense, we just may not be as receptive to it because we might be like, you don't understand. You haven't been through XYZ. These people really have been through XYZ. Or something equally as traumatic where they have developed the skills to get over it. And so they're really good at helping others get over their intense traumatic experiences, or even just understanding. Sometimes just talking to someone and having them understand that we're having an intense time is therapeutic. And these people really can just sit with us and be empathetic with us through that. So when it comes to our sexuality, when you have Pluto in the 8th house, these people are very intense in the bedroom. They are not boring. They are not forgettable. This is a huge way that you interact with others. There is an extreme exchange of, I almost wanted to say extreme exchange of power. And then I was like, no, but yeah, extreme, intense exchange of emotion and power. And yeah, you're not going to forget these people. They may really enjoy learning from their partner and teaching their partner different things to do in the bedroom. They really enjoy exploring different aspects and all aspects of sexuality, but specifically the more taboo ones. So you will really enjoy going to more adult clubs, more adult themed things. You will really enjoy, and I'm trying to keep it PG because I'm on YouTube, but you'll really enjoy that aspect. And you'll really enjoy that with a partner. I think for you guys is to remember, because this is so intense to you, you really can fall in love with somebody you have these intense experiences with. And I want you guys, if you have Pluto in the 8th house, to know that there is a sexual intensity that you can feel when there's an intensity you can feel when you're being intimate with somebody emotionally, and then there's like an intensity because of the physical feeling, I guess. They're not the same. If you have someone you really love, you can have both, but don't confuse the physical feeling with love, and don't confuse love with getting too wrapped up in the physical. There's got to be an equal balance of expressing this side of yourself, this sensual side of yourself, and this exploratory open side of yourself, and being careful, because you can become very emotionally attached to who you do that with. So yeah, these people, and I have seen this theme so much, and here's where we're gonna bring the celebrities into play, very much have secrets around their sex life. Secrets and sexuality, they link up double time in this house. A great example, if you guys ever seen that Netflix show, I think it came out like last summer, and it was called Sex Life, where the girl was like a married housewife, but she was so bored with her husband, and she was remembering these more risque times. So it could be that. It could be like, hey, I've had this past life that maybe people don't know about me now. Maybe you have secrets of things that are, you can tend to, this energy have secrets toward things that are taboo in a sexual sense. And these things could be things that are taboo and are not connected to shame, and things that are. So maybe you're a married man, but you enjoy being bisexual, or engaging in things that married men wouldn't necessarily do. And there's nothing inherently shameful about that. You just have your own personal, it doesn't align with your own personal views. And then you have things, I have seen people who have done things wrong to other people in that sense, and they're ashamed of it, or they've come to understand it and they feel saddened by it. So it's a secret. A school teacher who was like a former stripper. The celebrities I want to bring into, we're going to use her as an example. Aaliyah, such a great example of Pluto in the 8th house. So I'm very young, but I remember when I was a child and Aaliyah was putting her music out, we just knew her as a beautiful girl, and it was her music. And now, as we've come to investigate R. Kelly, we know that this poor young girl was a victim of this man.
Now, how is he to work with? Rob is great to work with, because really it's not like we work, because we're like really close, so it's like just fun, really. We just hang out, sing.
I don't ever remember working.
Yeah, it's just like fun.
One day with our friends, talking a lot of smack, talking about age ain't nothing but a number, girl. I was like, what you trying to say? So immediately I heard the song, you know, and I said, I called her back 15 minutes later, told her, check this out. So we cut the track right then and there.
And for the record, you are how old?
That's a secret.
Women doesn't disclose her age.
Of this predator. So a secret around sensuality that is shameful, taboo. You know, he's older, she's younger, that's illegal. Something that she kept hidden that is now we can truly see. But again, you wouldn't really know that when you were looking at her. She seemed successful, she seemed happy, she seemed not on drugs. She didn't seem a person to be crying out for help, but she went through something very traumatic in a sensual sense. So that was, when I seen that she had Pluto in the 8th, I was like, wow, so spot on. Sylvester Stallone is random, but it's like, I always think of him as like the Rocky guy, and now he's like kind of older, and he has an adult film when he was 18 before he got famous, and it's just like, nobody really knows about it. Of course, he wouldn't advertise that, but again, it's just like a secret in that sense. So 2 very interesting people where I was like, and obviously one is more extreme than the other. It's just how Pluto in the 8th plays out. But either way, this area of life is very important to you. Sharing and connecting with another individual in this way is very important to you guys. And it's a beautiful thing if it's done in a healthy, respectful, legal way. And now we're gonna get on to death. Death is extremely transformative to you, either by experience or through thought. You don't necessarily even, Scorpios in general, but especially this placement, you don't ever have to experience death in the sense that someone close to you died and it rocked your world. Just the thought of death may scare you, may make you ponder, pontificate, whatever that means. I feel like it goes here, about life, and really transform the way you think, the way you see the world, and the way you move, the way you live your life. Death is very transformative to you. Your death, now the jury's still kind of out. A lot of people say your death can be seen in the 8th. I don't know about all that. But I will say your death can be extremely transformative to others. Your death can be, with a Pluto in the 8th, as much a part of your life as how people remember you, how you lived, and how you died. They remember that equally. And that's usually not how it goes. Usually people remember, oh, this was Bob. He lived for 60 years. He was a dad. He was a grandpa. He lived a great life. And then he passed away. But mostly we remember Bob for the 60 years and not the death. But if you have Pluto in the 8th, people will remember your moment of death almost as equal as they remember your entire years of living. Aaliyah, we always think of, yeah, this great singer. I mean, I still hear her music on the radio today. I still play it. But we remember often what we as humans consider an untimely death. God has other plans. But Princess Diana, you know, she did a lot of philanthropic things. She had a tumultuous marriage, and her coming into the royal family and all that went with that, but we often talk about her in a car crash. Her death is transformative to others, even conspiracy theories coming out, ethical conversations coming out. She's dying and people are taking pictures. Did she die because paparazzi are getting in the way? Her death is very much talked about, almost as much, if not more, than what she did while she was alive. So forgot to mention Princess Diana, another Pluto in the 8th house person. Your death just could be really shocking. Again, Princess Diana, and just be really transformative. People, you know, when someone's getting older and they're sickly, you are kind of expecting it. It is the cycle of life. When something happens unexpectedly, it's like, whoa, not only do I have to deal with the loss of this person, I wasn't expecting it, or the way might be shocking me. It's a car accident, Princess Diana, Aaliyah, plane crash, Selena shot on stage. Like, wow, like nobody was even thinking about that, and now it's all we can think about. So death is really transforming the people around you. Death is transforming you. Maybe someone has passed away that you know in this sense, and it really just made you think. And it could affect you in everyday ways, such as maybe you drive a little safer. Maybe you speak your mind a little bit more because you realize that our time on this earth is like so short. The goal here, if you have Pluto in the 8th, especially in Scorpio, is not to be consumed by death while we're alive. We all have different beliefs and what we may feel happens after we die. But I think if you can get to a place where you can somehow grasp the concept of death and grasp the concept that we will all die and be okay with that, then you will be able to find some sort of peace in your life. Do not let the fear of imminent death, because it is imminent for all of us. I will die, so will everybody watching this video will die. Do not let that erode or take away from how you live your life, because your life is still important, and maybe you may take many years to figure out how to work through that in your mind. Because Scorpio is very intense, Pluto is very intense, but just make sure you appreciate and love life, and don't let the moment of death affect how you live your life. You may have near-death experiences, and this may be transformative to you. So surgery, Scorpio is about digging deep. The scorpion tail, we're cutting in, we're opening up, we're regenerating, the scar tissue is forming, and now we're healed again. So something that came to mind while I was doing this, maybe you have a near-death experience during surgery, maybe you have died and come back. Very much a Pluto in the 8th house thing, and it very much can change how you see the world. With a partner, this is the house after the 7th. So it's still very much partner and other oriented. You can be very possessive over them, over their emotions, their energy, and especially their things. And or again, this is power struggles. We're trying to dominate others, or them, us. Maybe a person is being like that to you, and you're saying, you may have to stand up and say, hey, no. I think it's important, as my Libra moon talking, to find some balance. Remember that you never own anyone. You only can control yourself, and you only own your own things, and your partner is not your property. This will help you, I think, to create healthy boundaries as a 8th house Pluto person between yourself and the person you love, because you have such intensity, but we never want to do it too much. You know what I mean? Everything in moderation. So remembering that you don't own your partner. There can be power struggles over other people's things, maybe even an inheritance, other people's things, other people's resources. And when we get on to money, this is the house of other people's money. And you could be very intense, very forceful, maybe a very aggressive, higher octave of Mars here with this energy. I was thinking, I don't know if you guys have seen in the news recently, this Sam Bankman-Fried. I don't know too much about it, but basically I know that he was with other people's money, spending it, and he shouldn't have been on himself. That is can be a very unevolved 8th house Pluto energy. It's not yours. The beautiful thing about this placement, you guys can be great at investing in the stock market, being like a stockbroker, a financial advisor, because you will treat other people's money as your own. And that's a great thing if you're being ethical. You can be very successful at that. People really can trust you and say, hey, this guy, he knows what to do with money. He will treat my money like his own. But make sure treating someone else's money like your own doesn't mean really spending it like it's your own. But overall, again, if you could find that healthy balance of like when someone is consenting to share with you resources, money, emotional or physical intimacy, that you respect the fact that it is always something that is shared and that it's still theirs to revoke consent at any time, and not something for you to possess or try to take strong arm and take control of. Always keep boundaries. I know it's very hard, but try to maintain boundaries here, respectful boundaries, respectful of yourself and of others. And just general everyday themes or interests, things that are occult. You may like astrology YouTube videos. I noticed that Scorpio and 8th house videos of every channel always have the highest views. You may like I said, more adult clubs. You may go there often. Numerology, tarot cards, psychic mediums, any 8th house Pluto things, investigating, clues, puzzles. Oh my god, you guys are so big into puzzles. Decoding things, an interest in finance, stocks, the stock market. Finances will probably be very important to you. Even though Scorpio is opposite of Taurus, I think there are a couple sister signs that really are more similar than others. And I would say that Scorpio and Taurus are pretty similar in the sense that they both are, I say they possess the potential to be very savvy with money, be it their own or others. Anyway, this was a very intense video. This is a very intense placement. I love to read your guys' comments, so please leave them below. I read all of them. And let's share with each other. Let's start a conversation. I will link some 8th house articles in the description. Yes, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you for Pluto in the 7th house.